Kadosh Boker or Bekiim Bahalacha. This is going to be Bekiim Bahalacha 5. This is Hilchot Ben Mensarim Siman Tav Kuf Nun Aleph 551. We are going to be on day 13, which is going to be Halacha number Memhei, which is talking about now haircuts. Okay, so it says like this: Asur lagdolim lesaper laktanim b'shavua shechal bo Tisha B'av. That means even a gadol cannot give a haircut to a katan during Shavua shechal bo Tisha B'av, the week of Tisha B'av. Okay, here in the footnote it says we have a mitzvah to train our children to keep the mitzvot and the halachot of Ben Metzarim as well. So some poskim suggested that adults must refrain from cutting their children's hair to add to the atmosphere of mourning. The Sharat Zion explained that according to the second reason, this rule applies even to children who are younger of age of chinuch. So the Ben he doesn't understand anything. He's too young. A 3-year-old, 4-year-old, you think he understands? Adain asur. Memvav. Yeshiva shelomdim basfaradim v'bnei edot mizrach im rov talmidim ashkenazim. What happens if you have talmidim sfaradim in a yeshiva that the majority are Ashkenazim? Tanu poskim haim mutar lehem listaper ulitgaleach gam achad yizam etumuz. There's machlok. Can they take care of haircuts now? Or maybe alehem leachmir shelo yasu agudot. Right? Halalo machmirim, halalo mekilim. Ulalachad nideh sheminadim mutar. Right? Listaper ulitgaleach memimesalim. Av bishalomdim yeshivot v'shelov talmidim ashkenazim. ומכל מקום, אם רצו להחמיר לעצמם לנהוג, כל את ימי בין המצרים, תבוא להם ברכה. It's better to. Meaning that, again, מעיקר הדין מותר להם. That means they could still take haircuts until שבוע שחל בו, but if not, if they want to be מחמיר, they can be מחמיר. The next halacha, מ"ז. בני ישיבה ספרדים הלומדים בישיבות אשכנזים נהגו שלא לספר בנזיעה בתמוז כדי שלא לשלם לחבריהם, ורוצים לחזור בהם, לנהוג להקל כדם מרן, יכולים לעשות התרת נדרים על הקל. ומי שנהג להחמיא מפני שסברו שהדין הוא לשנות מפני האשכנזים, אפילו התרת אינו צריך. זאת אומרת ככה, בוא נגיד, they went to a yeshiva Ashkenazit. So now in such a case where they went to a yeshiva Ashkenazit, they were מחמירים like the Ashkenazim not to take haircut. So in such a case, הם יכולים לעשות התרת נדרים, and then they couldn't לנהוג כמו ספרדים, כמו תמיד. אבל מה חושב אם הם חשבו שזה היה הדין? They thought that the halacha is אסור להם. So זה טעות. כל דבר שזה טעות לא צריך התרת נדרים גם. כן, בגלל שזה היה טעות. אוקיי, מ"ח. מותר לבחורה להסתפר בימים אלו, כדי שתנסה בקרב ימים, ובכל שכן היא משודכת, ורבו שערות ראשה, שיכולה להסתפר אפילו בשבוע של חבת השבב. זאת אומרת, a girl is allowed to take a haircut, כל הזמן. ואם היא משודכת ויש לה הרבה שערות, היא יכולה להסתפר אפילו שבוע של חבת השבב. אוקיי, ואישה נוהגת ערב טבילתה לקצור שערות ראשה, פשוט שמותרת לעשות כמים מנסרים. Let's say a woman goes to the mikveh, so it's going to be also mutala during Ben Metzarim to come and to do this as well. Here it says basically it's trimming hair in preparation for immersing in the mikveh. Fine, so 84 comes and it says that Rishon LeZion comes and he asks whether an Ashkenazi girl who feels that she needs to cut her hair for the sake of courtship can do so during Ben Metzarim or not. So he said that she may do so until Shabbat Chazon. The Rifa also brought down the Rambam, brought down the Bet Yosef, that the woman warning may cut her hair anytime after the first 7 days of the Shiva. And the Shulchan Aruch follows this as well. The Rama follows the opinion of the Ramban and the Rosh that a woman may not cut her hair at all. So even according to the stringent ruling, it's likely that it applies only to someone who actually is in the morning, not in the period of Ben Metzarim. So the responsa of Panim Meirot permitted a woman to cut her hair up until Tisha B'Av based on this reasoning. The Pri Megadim and the Yaakov of Lisa, right, ruled that the restriction against hair cutting during the Ben Metzarim is equal for both men and women. In conclusion, Maran wrote down that the women may cut their hair until Shabbat Chazon, since the prohibition of cutting one's hair, right, he says, is only a stringency. Zerak Chumrah. Okay, and this is also by the Igrot Moshe and Rishon Zamen Orbach, right, they agreed with this. All this discussion, he commented, right, it's pertinent for Ashkenazic women only. Fine. He says here in the next one, in number 85, he just brings down that they asked Rishon LeZion about this matter, and he agreed that whenever a woman has a reason, right, to need to cut her hair, she may do so. Meaning, the second there's a siba. Okay, fine. Now we're going to start the preface of the 9 days. Tishat Hayamim. Right, we're going to start the introduction, Magdama. The Gemara. Mesechet Ta'anit Tav Kaftet Amud Bet. Yeah, the Gemara Masechet Ta'anit of Kaftet Amud Bet says, Rav said that just as halacha restricts us, right, from happy activities, right? When the month of Av begins, we are to increase happy activities when the month of Adar begins, meaning that we minimize it during the Av and we maximize it during the month of Adar. So therefore, if a Jew and a non-Jew have a legal dispute, the Jew should always try to avoid it during the month of Av, since the Mazal of Yisrael is weak at that time. He should try to reschedule it through the month of Adar. The Ritva pointed out that although Rav Papa said that the Mazal of Yisrael is weak, our sages actually taught us that the nation of Yisrael are not governed by Mazal. He explained that this is no contradiction. Although there's no influence of the Mazal during the rest of the year, there is such influence during these 2 months of the year. Okay, so therefore he says, alternately explain, the Mazal of Yisrael is weak at the time, does not mean the influence of any astrological sign. It just says the nation of Yisrael is not affected by the astrology. The Gemara borrowed this term to do with heavenly decrees. Another possible resolution to the contradiction can be offered based on the Tosafot and Shabbat, that although there are influences of Mazal even in the nation of Yisrael, the people of Yisrael have an opportunity to overturn them. So accordingly, this passage is warning that the same time merit in the year is to overturn it. So you need more merits. The Rabbeinu Menachem HaMeiri, right? The Meiri was one of the Rishonim for the Sfaradim. He wrote that at no time should a person cease his efforts to pray to Hashem, asking for mercy. He must remain aware that prayer and acts of charity can overcome the influences of Mazal and change the nature of events. He must not be discouraged by the sage's statements. 3 things: Bane Chayim Zone, life, health, and children. And the right, it does not depend upon one's merits, and they depend upon the Mazal. He says the statement is a minority opinion and is consistent with the mainstream Torah principles of faith. The Rishon LeZion also wrote that the above comment is likely the basis of the Rambam, who ruled empathetically that the halacha is the nation of Yisrael is not affected by the influence of astrology. The passage found in Moed Katan stating the 3 things depend upon Mazal, right, is against the accepted halacha. Okay, זאת אומרת, אין דבר כזה שזה תלוי במזל. זה לא תלוי במזל. Right? Why? Because באמת זה לא קשור. So he says, regarding the rule of Rav Papa, he says that a Jew should avoid a court during the month of Av. The Magen Avraham brings down Rabbi Yerucham that one should have it postponed until minimum Rosh Chodesh Elul, the month following Av. The Mazal of Yisrael is weak or diminished throughout the entire month. Rav Yonatan of Lunin wrote as well that one should avoid during the month of Av at all. Rav Levi Yitzhak Barditchev wrote, right, however, that the term in the passage refers only to the first 2 weeks of the month. But starting from Tu B'Av, no problem whatsoever. And Rav Yitzchak also, there's not necessary to postpone until after, meaning just wait until after Tu B'Av. After Tu B'Av, Zeu. The Rishon LeZion cited a passage from the Zohar HaKadosh that Esav took control of 2 months of the year, Tammuz and Av, but he has no control over Elul. Even regarding the month of Av, only 9 days are his and no more. It is clear that after Tisha B'Av is no longer the one nation Yisrael was diminished. Mazal, and Ben Ish Chai likewise wrote that the practice one need to postpone is only until the 10th of Av. So, אתה רק צריך לחכות עד 10 באב, לא צריך יותר.